everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm your host Daniel and today we are on Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, the case of the Mystified Murderess. For some reason it's very... what's the music? Within the sitting room at 221B Baker Street, Dr. John Watson recounts the daily news for Holmes as the great detective listens, hoping the Times contains a case worthy of his sleuthing skills. So I just recently played The Hounds of Baskerville and the Mummy one. And now I'm on this one. I'm playing all the non-canonical
Society burglar strikes again. Series of burglaries. 6 over the period from June 2nd to June 17th. On July 2nd, the 7th occurred at the home of Sir Sanford Leeds. Cleopatra tiara stolen, it says. As in the other cases, no sign of extensive search by the thief, and only one piece of jewelry involved. Victims elsewhere at the time. Here's a complete list of the particulars, Holmes, if you'd care to read it.
I believe you'll find him in the study.
How do you do, gentlemen? I am Gerald Locke.
Please be seated, Mr. Locke. How can we be of service?
3 days ago, Guy Clarendon was found murdered at Halliday's. It's preposterous, but Miss Frances Nolan has been charged and is being detained at the criminal court, Old Bailey.
Frances Nolan. Ah, yes. Sister of Loretta Nolan. Only surviving heirs of Sir Malcolm Nolan, founder of the Aberdeen Navigation Company.
I seem to recall that Sir Malcolm and Lady Nolan were killed when some lunatic threw a bomb into their carriage. It seems to me that later I heard something about it being a case of mistaken identity. Wasn't one of their little offspring in the carriage with them at the time?
Yes, it was Loretta, Frances's sister. She was only 4. Miraculously, she was uninjured.
Mr. Locke, I've heard that you are a suitor for Miss Frances Nolan's hand, are you not?
Yes.
And was it not also true that she was being courted by Guy Clarendon?
Unfortunately, yes.
Have you any idea why Frances Nolan was charged with the crime?
Well, she was discovered over the body with a pistol in her hand.
That would do it.
But you don't understand. Frances is totally incapable of murder, not even of a scoundrel such as Guy Clarendon.
Scoundrel? But he's from such blue blood. Also, if I'm not mistaken, he's an accomplished batsman for the West London Cricketers, a ranked fencer in international competition.
He was also a bit of a bounder, Watson.
What an understatement. Guy Clarendon was excessively fond of cards and strong drink. His father had all but disinherited him. I tried to tell Frances that Clarendon was no good, but to no avail. And now look at the mess she's in. Will you help?
Most certainly.
Fair enough. Okay, well, that's what we're doing. I've never actually seen the Sherlock Holmes TV show or movies or anything. And because of these, I started watching the Benedict Cumberbatch one. I'm only like half an hour into it, but I'm enjoying it. And also, I looked up the guy who plays Sherlock in this. He only did it for this one, the previous one I've done, and then the next one I'm going to do. And he never did any other acting before or after. They're the only things he's ever done, so it was kind of like oh, okay. Alright, because I know what happened last time, like how I did it last time, I'll be able to figure this one out a little bit easier. So births. 22nd of June, births are important. Marriages, they might be important, but I don't care at the moment. Deaths. 20th of June, British legation. Okay. Inflammation of the lungs. 16th at Little Brickhill. Near Berkeley. Funerals, Cabarets. A florist. Okay. Good luck, farewell, Godspeed, Caitlin Ann. £8 reward. Ooh. Lost on June, a necklace on a family heirloom. Okay. We don't worry about that just yet. Please send along money. Carpets. Okay. After a series of high-profile burglaries, burglaries, perpetrated on some of the youngest and old thingy, presence in the neighborhood, yada yada. Foreign news, fatal fire in New York, the cholera, Italy and Zanzibar, Ottawa. Okay, none of them I think are important. Burglaries, editor of the Times, pressing the public generally, should force timid halting officials. Any person committing a burglary. Okay. Any burglar or thief having a revolver will be flogged. Okay. Vigilance Service Committee. Patrolling. Oh, okay. She's alive and well. Oh. Oh wow, they said that she died, but she's alive. Egerton died. Edward Barton. In memoriam. Ooh, this one's a bit of a... I don't know. Little Egypt, Oriental stuff, pianist, he gleamed with excitement, killed by lightning. Jewel stolen. Third body of Robert Pryor. Okay. All these so far are just the times. Personal, Lions murdered in Hyde Park. Oh wow. Okay, Pig Iron, no. Latest intelligence, home rule question. Ottawa. Egypt. HTB. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Okay, things that have been stolen. Diamond necklace. Potentially. Durf. We could speak to Durf, because the necklace has come up twice now. Shakespeare, hospital. Okay. Jack the Ripper. A murder committed harkens back to Jack the Ripper. Both been amputated with the skill of a surgeon. One line of the trunk was a little bit far apart from the body. Jack still lives and does his gruesome work. Okay. Oh, interesting. So, I'm going to go to the directory. And obviously, I'm going to check the main places first. Holmes, Humours, Watson.
The Mesmer Braid Institute was founded in 1874 as an asylum for the mentally disturbed. Oh, perhaps she's a bit of a loony.
Quite so.
The institute was named after the 17th century Austrian physician Anton Mesmer, who first discovered a technique whereby he could induce a quiet, trance-like state in patients.
Sounds suspiciously like hypnosis.
Actually, he called it mesmerism. It says that he ascribed certain mystic qualities to his process, and so was largely discredited during his lifetime.
Is that true?
In the
That'd be
1840s, Dr. James Braid, an Englishman, became interested in Mesmer's work, refined the process, and renamed it hypnotism. Right you are, Holmes.
Okay, well, that was pointless. So, I want to obviously go to the newspapers first. They're the main thing, but I just want to see. There's the embassies. I think they're important, though. The hotel, Halliday's private hotel, he died at the Hallidays, right? Since hotel plays such an important part. On the right track, yeah. Watson insists they pay Hallidays a visit.
Clarendon, poor chap. He arrived on the 29th day of May and was given a front room on the 3rd floor. 2 days later, he asked to be moved to suite 205.
To your knowledge, did he have any visitors?
Only 2 that I'm aware of. One was a most disagreeable fellow. He was rather large, had a thick walrus moustache, and a very prominent scar down his cheek.
Okay.
He arrived on the 1st of June, the very day of Mr. Clarendon's move. He simply came in, sat down in the lobby, and waited. 20 minutes or so later, Mr. Clarendon came down from his room. The big man yanked him aside. I was about to send for a bobby when Mr. Clarendon signed me that all was well.
Oh, Bobby.
After a few minutes, they left together. I never saw the man again. His other visitor, who came by quite frequently, was a most striking woman. She was quite fashionably dressed. She had a most distinctive laugh, very full and deep. I've no idea who she was.
Please, tell us about the morning of July 2nd.
It was about 9 o'clock when a woman entered. She was rather plain-looking, and I wouldn't have noticed her, except for the fact that she came in the front door, looking neither left nor right, and proceeded directly up the staircase. It couldn't have been more than 30 seconds later when I heard a bang, followed by a woman's scream. I dashed upstairs to the second floor. The door to room 205 was open. Inside, I found the body of Mr. Clarendon and the woman who'd just come up. She was lying in a swoon in the center of the room with a pistol in her hand.
Yeah,
I revived her with some
she's been
whiskey.
set up.
When she came to, she was totally disoriented. She had no idea where she was or what she'd done. When she saw Clarendon's body, she let out a shriek and dropped the pistol. I summoned the police.
Tell me,
Summoned.
at what hour are the hotel's front doors locked?
Oh, 10 o'clock, sir. Anyone who arrives after that has to be let in by the night staff. Of course, Mr. Clarendon was never one of those. He was always in his room before 10.
May we see his room?
Moments later. He's giving us a lot of information.
What have we here, Watson? It appears to be a bank statement.
Look here, Holmes.
Necklaces
Appears the maid missed a
and
spot in a
stuff.
sweeping.
Good thing she did, Watson. You're staring at evidence.
Blood.
What's this stain here?
Smells like a fine sherry. Looks like someone's been celebrating.
The question is, was it with the body or over it?
Nothing much here. Couple of shirts and 3 pair of shoes.
But what you failed to notice, my dear Watson, is that one of the pairs of shoes is canvas and has been dyed black. Interesting. A sweater and trousers. An ensemble in black.
Not much of a view. All I can see is a brick wall of the building across the alley.
Ivy vines binding up a trellis.
Why would he ask to be swapped rooms and stuff, you know? Okay, so I'm looking for a guy with a scar, a woman with a distinct laugh, someone with sherry, and someone that dyes things so their hands will be black. That's who I'm looking for. I need to go to the papers though. Need to go to the papers. So Financial Times will check. Finance may play a part in this case. Holmes wonders.
I question why we have...
Yeah. I just did it because whatever. Proceeds to the office, Shelley Ellis, editor of the Times.
Well, Watson,
Oh,
will Alice see us now?
Not likely, Holmes. He's on assignment in Istanbul.
okay. What about the Police Gazette?
Well, the Clarendon murders look fairly open and shut, if you ask me. Not your typical murderers, I admit, but there you have it.
Oh. Thanks. Thank you. That was very helpful. Well, I'll go to the criminology lab.
I say, excuse me, Dr. Murray.
Hello, what? Oh, my, I must have dozed off. Ah, it's you, Whitson. And what are you doing with yourself this afternoon? Or is it evening already? Have I missed my tea?
It's Watson, sir. We're looking into the Clarendon case, and we were wondering...
Clarendon! Ah, I just finished that report when I dozed off. Let me see. Number 301, I believe. Ah, yes. Here it is. Number 103. Clarendon, Guy. Not much, I'm afraid. A hole in the shirt where a small caliber bullet passed into the body.
Yeah.
Extensive blood stains.
Yeah.
Powder burns indicating a close-range shot. Ah, here's something interesting. On the lower part of the shirt, I found traces of alcohol.
A sherry.
Wine, to be exact. Now, I have a good nose for this sort of thing, and I believe it to be an inferior quality
Oh, so it's
Italian
not
red.
sherry then, because sherry's a brandy, right? I'm just an idiot. Although, we're talking with Lestrade.
Why even trouble yourself with this one, Holmes?
You believe Francis Nolan to be guilty?
Guilty as a cat would swallow a canary.
And on what do you base that brilliant deduction?
Look, Frances Nolan claims not to have known that Clarendon was residing at Halliday's. Yet she proceeded directly to his room where she shot the bloke. She claims not to have owned a gun. Yet the gun found in her hand was purchased at Esgoff, and the receipt had her name on it, for Christ's sake. No, that little lady will never see the light of day again.
So I need to speak to Nolan and Esgoff. But first, I just want to see if there's anything else here that might be useful. There is not. Okay, so Esgoff is not here. So I'll speak to Nolan then. Right, what was her name? Frances Nolan.
Tell us, who was at home on the evening of the 1st?
Well, just Miss Frances, sir. Oh, yes, of course, and Dr. Trevelyan.
Okay.
What time did the doctor take his leave?
Oh, let me think. It must have been 10 o'clock, because that's what time he always leaves.
What did Miss Frances do after her guest left?
What she does every evening, sir. Well, she asked for a cup of hot cocoa, which I brought her straight away. Then she read for a bit by the fire. Later, when I went up to bed, I passed her room, and the light went out.
What time would that have been?
Oh, let me see. Oh, I know it was 11:30 because the clock chimed. Then I went to sleep. Later, I was awakened in the middle of the night, right in the midst of the most peculiar dream. You see, I was barefoot and trying to buy a pair of shoes,
As
and...
fascinating as all this is, could we get back to what it was that awakened you?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, it was something that I heard, or thought I heard.
Okay.
I listened for a bit, but that was the end of it, so I went to sleep again. Later, I awoke at 7:30. I always wake up at 7:30, except, of course, on Sundays when I sleep until 8. As usual, I began to prepare Miss Frances's breakfast. I had no sooner got into the kitchen when I heard the front door open and close. Well, I ran to the front window and peeked out, and there was Miss Frances walking down the street.
And why do you deem that so unusual?
Well, she never leaves before she's eaten one of my currant buns.
Okay. So Dr. that one. Speak to them. Important discovery. Achievement.
Doctor, we understand that you dined with Frances Nolan on the evening of July 1st.
Yes, that is correct. We dine every Sunday. Her sister Loretta has been under my care for some 10 years.
Okay.
First at the Mesmer Braid Institute and then in private practice.
Without breaching physician-patient protocol, would you mind telling us the nature of her illness?
She never quite recovered from the overwhelming trauma of watching her parents being blown to bits.
I quite understand.
As is often the case with young orphans, they tend to create fantasies about their parents. Miss Loretta Nolan truly believes that her father was the King of England, making her a princess.
Do you think her unconventional behavior stems from that fantasy?
Absolutely. As a princess, she believes she can do no wrong. I must say that she's worlds apart from her sister Frances.
Do you know Frances Nolan well?
Yes, rather. Through my treatment of her sister, I've known her for years. Let me say that it is difficult to believe that Miss Frances is capable of murder. She has a quiet, unassuming personality. An act of such direct confrontation would not be at all in keeping with her character.
Were Loretta and Frances close?
I know without a doubt that Miss Frances loves and cares for her sister almost as a parent would a child. Miss Loretta, well, she loves her sister as much as she is capable of love.
Interesting. So we go back there to Loretta Nolan. Two detectives head out to Baker. Yes.
Enter and be recognized.
Oh, yeah, she thinks she's a princess, isn't it?
Oh, you
Distinct
don't wish
laugh.
to play Her Majesty, eh?
Distinct laugh.
Very well.
You do not seem particularly disturbed by the recent turn of events, Miss Nolan.
Each of us grieves in his own way, Mr. Holmes.
It must be difficult for you to face the possibility that your own sister may have killed your dearest chum.
Guy was fun to be with.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's
And as for Frances, I love her dearly, but, well, it's funny to think Miss Right and Proper has finally gotten herself into a bit of a jam.
Miss Nolan, may I ask, when was the last time you saw Guy Clarendon?
Let me think. I believe it was the Richmond's party last Thursday. Yes, I'm sure of it. God, we did cut it up a bit there.
And after the party?
We did not go home together, if that's what you're implying.
Interesting.
That would have broken Frances's heart. She was head over heels for Guy, you know. She had some foolish notion that he was going to marry her. Not that someone like him ever would. But I do recall her saying, and it might have been the night of his death, that she was going to have a talk with him about their future.
Oh, I don't know where to go from there. Because... She had a distinct... I've already done this on her. She had a distinct laugh. And I'm pretty sure the person said they were there just before. Do I have to go... Send no regulars? You can find her locked up at Old Bailey. Okay. How the hell? Old Bailey. Following the clues. Certain that Edward Hall can get them in. Pair head off.
I understand that Wilfred Robards is considering taking Miss Nolan's case. He might be able to help you. If you'd like, I can arrange an interview with Frances Nolan.
Please.
She's being held downstairs, you know.
Moments. Oh man, I'm figuring this out quite quick here.
We might be able to help you, Miss Nolan, if you could just remember what happened that night in Mr. Clarendon's room.
Well, that's just the trouble. I can't remember anything except seeing Guy's body across the room and the pistol in my hand.
Where did you get the pistol?
I've no idea, though the police assure me it's mine. I didn't know Guy was at Halliday's. I've never even been there before. And why would I shoot him anyway? We loved each other.
There, Miss Nolan. Stiff upper lip.
Thank you.
Miss Nolan, what is the last thing you remember before the room at Halliday's?
Oh, hot cocoa in bed.
I beg your pardon?
Well, every night before I retire, my maid, Grace, brings me a cup of hot cocoa.
How nice.
Yes.
And before that?
Well, before that, I dine with Dr. Trevelyan, as I do every Sunday evening. My sister Loretta is under his care. The doctor and I have become good friends over the years. He left at 10 o'clock, as he always does.
May I ask, where did you first meet Guy Clarendon?
At the country estate of Cornelius Oldwine, in March. My sister Loretta was attending a party there. I suppose things got a bit out of hand because it seems she dived into a fountain. She caught pneumonia and I had to go and fetch her home. Guy was also at the estate, and that's where we met.
And he immediately began paying court to you?
Oh, heavens, no. Nobody seems to take much notice of me. I suppose that comes from having such a wildly attractive sister. That's why I was so surprised when he called a few weeks later. We began seeing a great deal of each other. We went on long carriage rides, had picnic lunches. It was all quite lovely. And then on the 5th of June, he declared his love for me and asked for my hand in marriage. I was so happy. I couldn't have killed him.
I think the sister's done it because she's jealous.
How do you explain your presence at Halliday's?
Well, I can't. It's just like the other 2 times.
You've had memory losses before.
Yes, twice in the past month. The first time I found myself atop a horse in Hyde Park, with no recollection of how I got there. The last thing I remember was having lunch with my sister Loretta. Then there I was, atop a chestnut mare.
Loretta's drugging her.
The funny thing is, I'm terrified of horses.
You mentioned there was a second time.
Yes, a few days later, I met with my solicitor, Hiram Davenport. Then the next thing I know, I'm at the Newgate Street station. I consulted my physician, Dr. Mason, and he was quite as baffled as I was.
One last question, if you will. What is your relationship with Gerald Locke?
Oh, Jerry. He's a dear old friend. Though I'm afraid we had a falling out of late. He said some very unkind words about Guy.
Alright. So, Locke, Mason, and... Shit, I can't remember the other guy's name. Right, so we're going to see Locke first, because he was the one they've just mentioned there. Watson agrees. see if anything comes of light.
We have just a few more questions for you, Mr. Locke, if you don't mind.
Of course
Didn't
not.
even know I had the
Anything to
first
help
question.
Francis.
We were
Does he
wondering
have a
if you
scar?
could shed some light on Miss Frances' relationship with Guy Clarendon.
He was only after her money. I tried to tell Frances as much, but she wouldn't hear of it. We had a bit of a row over it. I've been quite upset
His
about the whole
sideburns are
thing.
coming off his
Upset
head.
enough to commit murder.
What an outrageous accusation.
Does any question, Mr. Locke?
Preposterous. Besides, I've been on holiday all week, playing cribbage at the annual tournament up at Leeds.
Sounds positively riveting.
Oh, it was.
Interesting. Mason. Let's see. They're on the right trail. We head off to see if anything can be solved.
Tell us, Dr. Mason, have you determined the cause of Frances Nolan's blackouts?
It's the strangest thing, really. I examined her thoroughly and found nothing physically wrong. She could not recall receiving a bump in the head, nor did she complain of dizziness. All I could suggest that was perhaps she was overtired and prescribed rest. It remains a complete mystery to me.
Interesting. And then there was... Oh, what was the person's name? I can't even, like, go back and watch it all because it'd be so much to go through. Check... I mean, he's dead, isn't he?
I question.
I'm going to say that we can't do that because he's dead. I'll see the name. I'm pretty sure it was a G. I think it was a G, but I'm just going to go for everything just in case. Was it Goth? New revelation. Few gun shops in the city. Right, head off to Goth's.
Do you remember a woman who came in recently and purchased a Derringer?
Oh, matter of fact, I do, sir. We don't get women in here very often,
gonna be her
especially
sister,
not
yeah.
alone. And I particularly remember that one because she was so pretty and
Stink
she
laugh.
looked like she really knew how to have a good time, if you'll pardon the expression.
Do you remember her name?
I should say I do. She repeated it twice whilst I was filling out the order form. Seems like it was very important to her that I get her name right. Let me see, it was
So yeah, the sister.
Frances, no, Lesper. Well, it was Frances something or other, sir.
So the sister... I think the sister has done it. Alright. Don't know if it's the amount, if it amounts to much, but we'd wager this lady is a bit all off her rocker. Bit off her rocker. If you heard the way she laughed, you wouldn't doubt it. Could I go to the police now, do you reckon? I'm the judge.
No, gentlemen.
Nope.
You haven't done a thorough...
Oh, come on, I'm so close, bro. We've done that. A boisterous woman went in and bought a gun. Go. No, not newspaper. I don't care about that. Can we go back to her?
Enter.
Same thing. Interesting. Oh, the Braid Institute, obviously.
Well, he certainly was a chap.
Never mind. Never mind. Oh god, I don't know what to do now. Like, we know it's the sister, but we don't know why. That's what we need to figure out. We need to figure out why. But there's nothing here at the moment. I've already spoken to him, haven't I? Let's send the irregulars there. Society's Club, no. Scotland Yard, I've already done. Maybe?
Both Loretta Nolan and Guy Clarendon have had several complaints filed against them, although neither of them has ever been arrested. Both have been cited for public drunkenness. Likewise, both have been involved in some unusual pranks, but no one has ever pressed charges.
Interesting. There's nothing there. Where did she say she ended up at one point? I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why I'd send them there. National Gallery, no. Maybe the inn? That's not where they were staying though, is it?
Well.
Yeah, it's not even where they were staying. I don't know why I did that. Library, no. University, no. Did they say something about...
The tiara was a terribly valuable piece of jewelry, and it meant so much to my wife. She has been under a doctor's care since the theft. In fact, just yesterday she took a room at the hospital.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is she prone to bouts of nervousness?
Perhaps lately it seems so. She was absolutely undone when young Clarendon poured champagne down the borders of her gown at Richmond's party.
What champagne?
Come to think of it, that was the last time she wore her tiara. She was so proud of it. And several of the ladies at that party admired it openly.
Where did Lady Leeds keep the tiara when she wasn't wearing it?
In the bottom drawer of her bureau, where she kept some of her more frilly undergarments.
Were there any signs of a search? Drawers left open, that sort of thing?
No, and that's what strikes me as so peculiar. It's as if the burglar knew right where to look.
Okay. But... I don't know. So I think the girl, Loretta, is the murderer. Or at least she's messing with their head. Messing with her head. And then... I don't know. Something like, I can't think of anything either. There's nothing here that I'm seeing that's like the American Embassy. Guy Clarendon, no. Peter Dudley, no. Durf! My God.
My husband, God rest his soul, gave me that necklace for our 50th wedding anniversary. And woe betide the blighter that took it, I say.
I can certainly understand your consternation, madam. May I assume that you were out the evening it was taken?
Oh, yes, the house was completely empty. Sybil, my housekeeper, and I were attending the masked charity ball at St. Mary's for the benefit of unwed mothers. It wouldn't surprise me if that scoundrel was responsible in that direction as well. Society burglar, indeed. He's of the lower classes, mark my words.
Do you keep your jewels locked up?
Oh, I keep them in a very secret place. A box made to look like a copy of Great Expectations on the bookshelf amidst the other books. Hiram, my late husband, thought of that. But the thief went right to it.
I don't know. Oh... I don't know. Key witness.
This is a difficult thing for a man to say about his only son. But Guy was a wastrel and a ne'er-do-well. Only a short month or so ago, I gave him £5,000 and told him that was the last he'd see of my money. I'd hoped the shock would bring the boy around, make him realize he had to settle down, instead of wasting his life on gambling and gallivanting around with that wild woman.
Which wild woman was that?
Loretta Nolan, of course.
You mentioned gambling, Sir Francis. Have you any idea with whom he gambled or who might have wanted to kill him?
I wish I did. He told us nothing. He only came around when he needed money. And when I told him there'd be no more, we never saw him.
That's when he proposed.
Just about broke his mother's heart. There, Gertie. We still have one another.
Moments later. Come on. Give us something good.
I've something you ought to know about Master Guy. One morning, rather early, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I heard a terrible clatter downstairs, so I came down to investigate. It was Master Guy just coming home. He was in a terrible state, all battered and bruised, with a fresh cut on his forehead. I asked him who did it to him, and he wouldn't say. I think he was afraid for his life.
Oh, it's Loretta. It's Loretta. Surely I can go to the police now, right? Not the police. Oh, the bank. I'll go to the bank. I'll go to the bank. Because of the money.
Well,
no.
he said.
Never mind. Right, we're off to the fucking judge.
I'm sorry, gentlemen,
come on, man.
but it seems...
Come on. What? What am I missing? Gallery. Oh, I don't know. Alright, I don't know. So, right, before we do any more, I think Loretta and Guy were hooking up and stuff. And then he's obviously wanted money from his dad, but he's not been able to get the money. Maybe that's where the burglaries have come in. So maybe he's robbed people. He's about to get caught or something. So he's then gone to her sister to get money. And then she's hypnotized her sister to kill him. Because it mentioned the hypnotizing and mesmerizing and stuff, didn't it? So yeah, she's hypnotized her sister to kill him because she was jealous. And she wanted him to herself, but then the sister's now got him, so she's jealous. Oh, I don't know. Right, let's have a quick look at the newspaper again. See if there's anything. Oh, no, wrong one. See if there's anything in this that can help. Annie Marie, Sydney, Annie Riggs, no. Death, no. No. Ottawa, nope. Oh, there's nothing, bro. Oh gosh. May I suggest? Spalding. Syria. All the necklace and... Yes! Okay, so... Society burglar takes climb. Got away with jewels, valued at this. 7 victims. Oh, wait. Oh, because... So if we just speak to all these people... So Baker, Harding, Richmond... If I just speak to all of them... Because we know that... Well, I think he's the one who's stolen it. I've spoken to Leeds, that was for the tiara. I've spoken to Durfee, that was for the necklace. So I'll speak to R. Baker and Harding first. Okay. Baker. See what he's got to say.
Well, it was an unfortunate event, but to tell you the truth, to me it was a mere bauble, a trinket. I had it replaced for my wife the very next day.
And nothing else was stolen?
Not a thing, and it appeared there'd been no search.
Okay. What was the other person's name? Shit. Harding.
My wife and I were guests at a small dinner party at the home of Otis Richmond.
Otis Richmond.
We arrived home sometime after midnight. And as my wife was putting away her finery, she noticed the bracelet was missing from her jewelry box, and we summoned the police immediately.
Okay. The servants were questioned?
Oh, they've all been with us for a number of years, and I haven't the slightest suspicion about them. But yes, the police did question them thoroughly. All were in bed asleep by the time we arrived home, and none heard anything untoward.
And nothing else was taken?
Surprisingly not.
Yet you're positive that the bracelet has not simply been misplaced?
No, my wife actually put it on while she was preparing for the evening, and then she decided against it. I saw her put it back in the box.
Okay.
Where does she keep the box?
In her dressing table, there's a special compartment in the side of it. The box fits in rather neatly.
So someone knows all of these things as well. Oh, it's Richmond. Okay.
At first, I thought it must have been one of the servants. After all, there was no sign of a search, and nothing else was disturbed.
Did you question them?
Thoroughly, but none of them would admit a thing. It really wasn't until Hardinge and Bessie Durth were robbed, and the newspapers referred to us as victims of the society burglar, that I was certain it wasn't any of my staff. By the way, can you recommend a good housekeeper and valet?
Alright, Lewin and Judd as well, so... Lewin...
We were at a reception at Buckingham Palace for the new head of the China delegation. Upon arriving home, my wife discovered that her favorite ruby earrings were missing. We noticed nothing else out of place. No sign of a search, that is. And none of the servants had heard anything suspicious.
Ooh.
It's all quite upsetting, you know. The pendant belonged to my great-great-grandmother, and I was hoping to pass it on to my daughter. And now it's gone.
There, Mrs. Judd, you mustn't worry. With Holmes and I on the case, we're sure to recover your pendant. By the way, where did you keep it when you weren't wearing it?
In the toe of my old black button-ups, and I don't recall ever having mentioned that to anyone. Or at least I don't think I did.
Oh. Okay. That's giving me nothing. That's everyone as well, isn't it? Oh, that's everyone. Baker, Harding, Richmond, Lewin, Durf, Judd, Leeds. Shit. Give me nothing, bro. HTB, maybe. Oh, gosh. Victim of the latest theft, Lady Leeds. Okay. Lord Salisbury. Oh gosh. There's nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. Shoemakers, because the shoes had been coloured, right?
I question.
The pawn shop to see if anything's been sent there.
I question why.
I want to see if anything was sold there, bro. That's why. Okay. No. No. Can't touch this. Should I just do like one person from each thing? Vegetarian restaurant.
What?
I'm gonna do one person from each thing. Ooh, I could do these two actually. Nope. Do it.
Their father, Sir Malcolm, left them each a 1/6 share. Several years ago, as soon as she came of age, Miss Loretta divested herself of her stock.
Okay. Go to the hospital.
You're quite sure the murder weapon was a small caliber pistol?
Quite. I'd also wager to say he'd been shot at very close range.
Ghastly.
Tell us, Sir Jasper, at what time did you receive the body?
Around 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And how much time would you judge to have elapsed from the time of the murder?
Well, it's always difficult to be precise in these matters, but I'd venture to say he'd been dead anywhere from 4 to 10 hours.
Okay. Oh, I don't fucking know, mate. None of these are sticking out to me from what we've seen of anything, nothing. We've already done. Like, the thing is, on this one, I think we did this one, didn't we?
Who are you and what do you want? Dr. John Watson, sir. I wondered if you might be kind enough to answer a few questions.
He's got a scar on his face.
About
Just
what?
mentioned Gus.
Guy Clarendon.
That welching little weasel, what about him?
He's been murdered.
Ah! I'd say he got what he deserved. And if you don't clear out of here in 2 seconds, so will you.
Oh, quite. Ta-ta.
Okay. I don't think it was him. I don't think he'd been able to get a gun. I need a sneeze. Chelsea, Dodd. Dodd, I've done Dodd. I did Dodd already. Henry's away. Edward Harding did that one. Let's check all the hotels. I know it's a stretch.
This seemed to be a dead end.
It's a big stretch.
Well, he...
Okay. What's that? Mountain climbing equipment. Okay, I'll do this for all of them. Okay. A restaurant. Imperial Theatre, I assume it's a theatre, yeah. Blind Society. Alright, we're gonna start from this side. Great Zoology. No. Western. Nothing on file. Pawn shop. There's so much I just don't know, bro. Oh! Best cheddar in London. Thomas Wheaton. Of course. Oh wait, a valet. Nope. So the valet people could have helped us. Madam Tussauds. Well, it's not going to be Madam. Oh, I didn't want to go here, but I crashed. Paul Trafton, moneylender.
This.
Say if he's lending money to people. Paraphernalia, societies. I think I've already checked. It's just. Let me just. Why is it not? Served 2 terms that he has forsaken his life of crime at Innkeeper. He is now a perpetrator of the Raven and Rat Inn. Closer to the culprit.
Sure, I remember Clarendon. He and his lady friend used to stop in here from time to time. Usually on their way to Kilgore's gaming parlor or coming back from it. Rumor has it, Clarendon was into Kilgore for a sizable sum.
Do you happen to know how much?
£7,000 was the figure I heard. Got to the point Kilgore wouldn't allow him in the door. Clarendon made a big fuss till Gus Bullock stepped in.
Gus.
Clarendon backed down pretty quick. Don't blame him none. Nobody in their right mind would want to mess with the likes of Gus.
Do you think Bullock was involved in the murder?
Nothing you could tell me about that bloke would surprise me. Anyways, Kilgore makes it clear to Clarendon that he wants his money. Then, a month or so later, Clarendon comes in all smiles, and he and Kilgore getting on like chums. Figure Clarendon must have paid him back. Then Calvin Leach steps into the picture.
Now, who's Calvin Leach?
Leach deals in what you might call stolen property. Square dealer, too. Give you 1/2 the value of the article.
What does Leach have to do with Clarendon and Kilgore?
Usually nothing at all. But there it is. Leach, Kilgore, and Clarendon meeting late at night just as thick as thieves. The meetings continued on right up to, well, the night before Clarendon's death.
Very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Now, we've been standing here jawing, and I don't recall hearing anybody order nothing. What'll it be, mate?
Okay. So, what was his name? Leach and... Shit, what was his name? Oh, no, Leach. Kilgore.
What did you learn of Calvin Leach?
I think Porky Shinwell said it all.
Did you ask Leach about Clarendon?
Yes.
What did he say, Watson?
Oh, yes, of course. He said he'd never heard of him.
And Kilgore.
Any luck?
Yes and no.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, Kilgore has met Clarendon once or twice, but no, he insists he's never heard of Calvin Leach.
And you believed him?
Okay. And the rat and something in, wasn't it? In, maybe? Can I go to the police now? To the judge now? So, before I go, so Clarendon owed a load of money to Kilgore, so he became a burglar. He was sleeping with Loretta, and then when he needed a lot of money, he stole from people. His dad wouldn't give him any more money, so he wanted to marry Frances, but then she got jealous. That's what I'm going to say.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Come on. You found all the key
Queen's
clues.
Court now stands in order.
Okay.
Mr. Holmes.
Who killed Guy
I
Clarendon?
understand you've been looking into the murder of Guy Clarendon. That is correct, my lord.
Ooh, do I put
Would
it
you
as
be so
Loretta? I'm
kind
gonna
as
put
to
it as
tell the
Loretta.
court who killed Mr. Clarendon?
Certainly, my
lord.
What was her motive?
And
She meant to scare
what
him as a joke.
was
She thought it was a motive.
Loretta
She was
Nolan's
jealous of her
motive for
friendship.
killing
She
Mr.
had her eye on
Clarendon?
the Cleopatra tiara, and named Loretta in his will, leaving all his worldly goods. It's not going to be that. It could be the tiara, you know, because she thought she was a princess. I doubt it. She was jealous of her relationship with his... But at the same time, no... She was sleeping with him even when he was in a relationship with Frances, so maybe she wasn't jealous. I'm gonna say it.
Terribly...
That's wrong. So is it the tiara?
Mr. Holmes, I understand you... I see. And
She had the
what-
eye on the tiara, okay.
Greed. Pure and simple.
Why did Frances Nolan go
Now,
to the holidays?
have you determined why Frances Nolan went to Halifax?
Yeah, she was
I have, my lord.
hypnotised.
Please inform the court.
The sister said that she went to declare her love, but if the sisters killed her, then the sisters hypnotized her as well. And she had dinner with her the night before, and then she couldn't remember anything until afterwards. It's hypnotized. Oh,
not a sisterly thing to do at all.
Who was a sighted burglar?
Is there anything else you wish to report to the court?
That was
Yes, my lord.
Clarendon.
I believe we've also solved the case of the society. Guy
Why would he
Clarendon
do
was
such a
straight
thing?
from the upper crust. Why ever would he turn to a life of crime?
Kilgore insisted that he do it. His father cut him off financially.
Well, you've done an admirable job in
yes.
resolving this mystery. I'd say you're on a par with just about any other armchair detective out there.
Oh, screw you.
I would suggest, however, that you rethink this case again, thereby improving your sleuthing skills.
So I think when it says that, it's based off of the points I've got in the magnifying glass. So, like, essentially there's only, like, 10 clues that you... Well, I get achievements for 5. So there's essentially, like, 5 major clues. The rest of it, if you do it, it's, like, helping you out more. But you only need 5. Yeah, Holmes got 55. I got 680. Talked with Holmes about Clyde Darren's murder. As far as clue points go, here's how he did. Right, let's see how he did it.
Well, Watson, we should be very pleased with ourselves on this one.
Yes, indeed, Holmes.
2 cases solved for Scotland Yard, though I doubt that Lestrade will consider himself in our debt.
2?
Yes, indeed. First, the society burglar. Clarendon was £7,000 in debt to the gambler Kilgore. Unfortunately, he was in his father's bad graces and he was flat broke.
Do you suppose Kilgore sent Bullock around to rough Clarendon up?
Good deduction, Watson. You're learning. That's why he moved into Halliday's, to escape Gus Bullock.
And to pay off his debts, he took to burglary.
Right you are. He acquired a black sweater, trousers, and a pair of black canvas shoes so as not to be seen or heard in the dead of night. He chose victims of his own class, whose social comings and goings he knew well, and whose homes he'd visited often.
I still don't understand why, after he'd settled in at Halliday's, he changed rooms.
Elementary, my dear Watson. To be at the back of the hotel with a vine-covered trellis conveniently leading in and out of his bedroom window.
Quite so. Positively clever of you.
May I continue?
Oh, please do.
Because the doors are
On the
locked.
1st of June, Bullock tracked Clarendon down and confronted him in the lobby. Clarendon paid him the £5,000 that was given to him by his father.
But he still owed Kilgore £2,000. And that was the same evening the society burglar struck for the first time.
Yes.
So pleased you've been paying attention, Watson. Soon after that, Clarendon, Kilgore, and Calvin Leach, a known trafficker in stolen goods, were seen together. Notice, if you will, that 1/2 the value of the first 3 society burglaries is equal to £2,000.
Yeah.
Half the value being the price normally paid by Calvin Leach for stolen goods. Notice also that this same amount is equal to the balance of Clarendon's debt to Kilgore.
Yes.
Fascinating. So with his new vocation, Clarendon now had an easy source of income.
Quite so, as his succeeding bank transactions evidence.
Yes.
On the day after each of the next 3 burglaries, Clarendon made deposits. Everything went along swimmingly, and by June 30th, his debt was paid.
But the tiara was stolen July 1st.
Yes, Watson.
He stole it
Apparently,
for...
young Clarendon thought he'd found himself a new vocation.
Oh, no.
He might have lasted longer at it if he'd chosen something else to steal.
Yeah, because he stole
Whatever
that
do you
and then
mean,
that's what
Holmes?
she wanted.
Loretta Nolan's delusion that she was born of royal parentage proved to be his undoing.
If she took it, how did she manage? No one saw her enter or leave.
She came and went the same way Clarendon did, via the trellis. She was armed with a derringer purchased at Esgoff's in her sister's name.
Yes, we knew that one.
Clarendon returned from his night's work and poured 2 glasses of wine in celebration. That's when Loretta Nolan shot him and took the tiara.
How wicked of her.
Not nearly as wicked as what she did next.
What?
She went to her sister Frances's home and hypnotized her. She then proceeded to instruct her to go to Clarendon's room with the derringer and fire it into the ceiling.
Incriminate her own sister? But why?
If we could determine that precisely, we could start our own institute.
Sick mind, no doubt. But tell me, Holmes, how did Clarendon know the precise locations of each of his victims' jewels?
Excellent question, Watson. Although there is no clear-cut evidence for this, I can only assume that Loretta Nolan must have been in on it too. The only way Clarendon could have known the locations of the jewels was if the victims themselves had told him where to look. None of them recalls having told anyone, but in fact they did tell someone. Who? Loretta
That's
Nolan.
why she was like, I can't.
She
I don't
managed
think
to
I did.
hypnotize each of the ladies whose jewels were stolen and got them to reveal the precise locations of the family treasures.
And left them with no memory of having done so.
Precisely.
Astounding, Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Interesting. Okay. Also, I love that he's not even actually like a Sherlock Holmes person, but he's so good. Like, he's great. That was awesome. That's a Mystified Murderess. I only took I've got 10 seconds left until I'm an hour into recording, so it's like, what, a 55-minute video? That was sick. Right, I've only got 1 more to do before we get on to the actual canonical games in the series. And until then, I hope to see you soon. I'll speak to you later.